Hello there again. Greetings from Clean India Journal. While we have been speaking to a lot of leaders across India, today we have a very special personality at our studios. A gentleman who has been in the cleaning industry since 1999 and has found passion in the facility service industry. His growth is a wonderful story of how he has grown in 25 years without a sales and without a marketing department. And today, he is talking to us about his success story. Well, this is none other than Christopher Blessing of Caere. Roll back 1999. Why did you actually, start a business in facility management? What is it that sparked? You are by qualification now?
By qualification? I did marketing studies at Richmond. I actually started with biochemistry graduation. I didn't like it, so I moved on to Masters in Psychology.
My God.
And I wanted to do recruitments and counseling, career counseling and so on. So that's how the word care also came up. The word care actually originally was created for counseling and recruitment enterprise. Right? So but that was a long journey because we had to invest a lot in psychometric analysis, a lot of psychologists and all that. So post my master's in psychology, I decided that's going to be a long journey, a lot of investments. So we changed it to corporate aesthetic refurbishing enterprise because this was something that we could start.
Okay, so talking about psychology and then from psychology jumping into facility management services, there is no connect. Of course, yes, people is the connect if I'm not wrong.
Absolutely. Well, it's again my past careers were linked to all this. Psychology is because I was working as a recruiter and I was working as a manager HR for a multinational construction company in Africa.
Okay.
Back then in Africa I saw, I'm talking about places like Uganda, Nairobi, those places, not as developed as India then. But then every place that we went to was maintained immaculately clean.
Wow.
Right? The roads, the petrol pumps, every place was superbly clean. So, and I used to see how, when ours was a construction company, I was working for a construction company. So, competing companies from Germany, China, and other companies, they would not only build large structures, but they would also maintain them. Back then, it used to call post-contract maintenance. So, civil, electrical, housekeeping, the whole thing they would maintain. So, I used to go and watch how these people are maintaining. Now all these guys in overalls cleaning nicely and maintaining, fixing up stuff in beautiful uniforms. And like a beautiful picture to my eyes.
Wow. Imagine the picture that you're talking of when you compare from what you saw. Yeah.
The huge contrast.
Yeah.
So that's something that so when we started going around, saw so much scope for work.
Right.
So I just started going and back then in Hyderabad, that was the first time new flyovers were constructed, new technology parks were being set up, the first buildings. Okay. So I went and started talking to these people that you built this infrastructure, how are you going to maintain it? And they themselves said, we don't know how. If you know something, let us know.
That is nice. Okay.
I also remember one day I went to Indian Oil petrol pump and the petrol pump was dirty. So I just parked my car, I went to the owner and then I said, sir, aap kaise maintain karte ho usko? He said, yeah, I don't know. That's one of the biggest headaches. And he also said, if you can solve my problem, I will take you across IOCL. Okay. So Mr. Umesh Agarwal is still a great friend of mine, my first customer. Then he said, okay, why don't we start with my pump and make it a model pump? In Hyderabad, Begum Plant, next to Hyderabad Public School. So we started working with that. The first challenge
when you say we, where did the we come?
Obviously, I can't go and clean it myself alone, so I had to have a bunch of people. So I went around, the various bastis there and started talking to young boys. Would you like to come and do this? So the moment they heard cleaning, they would all say, cleaning now, like. It so happened, I met a couple of dumb and deaf boys, differently able boys. And I was not too good at the language, but over a period of time I picked up. So when I talked to them, they said yes, because they were not finding jobs. Actually, come with me and I'll train you. So the team was myself, the only fellow who could speak. That's why I tend to speak more. And these guys, we had about 4 differently abled boys, and who were my assistants in doing this.
So nice. So very thoughtful.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, that happened. In fact, I'm really grateful for those experiences. So the 4 of us, myself, I was doubling up as supervisor and driver, and these guys, the 4 guys were. So the assignment initially was this petrol pump, and he was very happy. He invited all the IFCL officials, BPCL officials, and they were very happy. So the end of 3 to 4 months with him, we signed up about 70 petrol pumps in the twin cities of...
Bravo. That's wonderful. Yeah.
Now that was big work, and that work was very challenging because it had to be done between the time petrol pump closes their business operations and opens up in the morning. So it typically closes at 12:31, 12 o'clock, 11:30, 12 what it closes, and then it opens up at 4:35. So that's the window.
Very small bracket here.
Yeah. So we had a lot of interesting challenges and interesting experiences. I'll tell you one thing. So all these fellows said yes initially. The BPCL fellow said, okay, I'll do it. They said, go get your machines and everything into place. So since I worked for a little while overseas, I had a little bit of saving. So I pledged that money and got an overdraft and took a loan and invested in a Maruti van and a couple of cleaning machines and a couple of ladders and modified the van so that everything fits in. And then after a week, I went to BPSL's office, and that fellow started ignoring me.
Oh my God.
So like I told you, every night after dinner, I would go pick up the boys someplace, and we would map all the pumps. So every night, 2 to 3 pumps. So that was our first assignment, where you working with petrol pumps and these boys. And then, since we had back then, there were very few companies which even invested in equipment, professional cleaning chemicals. Okay. So there's a company called Colgate Palmolive, and they used to import chemicals. Okay. So there was this dealer. He said, "These are expensive chemicals and so on." But I said, "I'll come back to you when we get some good opportunities." One day he came back and he said, "There's an international store, retail store being set up. Okay. And they don't have." They need professional companies, and they don't want to buy chemicals from me. They don't want to buy machines from me. So would you like to do that, and I'll introduce you?
Oh, okay.
So I went and met these guys. There's a company called Landmark Group. Lifestyle stores.
Okay, yeah.
This is in 2000 Jan. So when we went and met the vice president who just came in from Dubai. But one thing that worked for me well is this, that I'm a risk taker, and I'm committed. So when we were discussing business terms, his secretary was sitting next to him, and I said, I remember her name, Girija. I said, "Ma'am, can you give me a piece of black paper?" So she gave me from her printer, and I pushed it across the table to the vice president. I said, "You put your terms, and I'll sign on it. Okay. Whatever the money is, pushed it across the table." And I told him, "You fill the terms. You write the amount or do whatever it takes, and no questions asked, and the deal is done." So he was really happy, and though he didn't do it, he said, "You come back." But however, that opportunity was ours. But that opportunity was like a turning point, in the sense that the project days, as it is any projects where it goes live, could be a hotel, hospital, or a retail. It's a 24/7 work, So the first job that we got into was one of the toughest jobs. The year 1999, you would see this job was only done by labor contractors all across. That means wherever you have offices, and they had to give office boys and office staff, they would just give them either a navy blue trouser and a navy blue shirt, or a brown shirt or a pond pant, just ordinary stuff. It's a proper office boys or just extending labor. Most of the other types, that was also not there. But then a friend of mine was traveling from Australia, and his brother was working for a company called Asset Management Services. And when he was traveling, I said, why don't you bring their uniforms? So he bought a pair of uniform, and it was orange.
Oh.
A bright orange dungaree.
Okay.
Okay, with a navy blue shirt. So I said, we'll use something like that. But instead of using orange, I think we used orange and blue.
Yes.
Okay. That was red and some other color, red. So when I took that sample, I went to my staff and I said, hey, something like this I'm going to stitch for you. They said, no, sir. All men and women said, ye to bache log, something like kids wear. That, the dungarees that children wear. They said, we'll look funny, we'll look like jokers. So then I organized for a dinner that evening. I said, chalo, sir, baith khana khate hain. Then I kind of showed them how things happened worldwide and what happens. And so it took a big amount of effort for me. But the first victory was getting them, all these men and women, even women, for them, they were saying for us to go to washrooms and to use all that cases or how to use that. I said, I don't know, but women across the world, men across the world who do these jobs where. So we'll need to figure out how. And but thankfully, the first team was about 12 to 15 or 20 people. And they all agreed after the dinner. The dinner worked, the dinner of the desert worked. So we had our first set of fellows who were in this beautiful dungarees. And that was like a statement. It was like a showpiece. Because as it is, Lifestyle Store was the first international format in India, in Hyderabad. So a hell lot of visitors. So a hell lot of eyeballs for us. This was done without working for it. As an effect, And then very soon, you wouldn't believe, Spencer's was setting up its first store. Shoppers Stop was setting up its second store. Big Bazaar was setting up its store. Cafe Coffee Day was setting up its thing. Barista was setting up. Quickies was setting up. You won't believe, every owner of these businesses, because they were the first format stores. I remember they would come, walk across Lifestyle Stores, then they will ask either one of our housekeepers, ye aapka company kaun hai? Or they'll go to my client, and that lady Girija was the secretary for Mr. Murli. They'll ask her, who was this? So literally, if you see between 2000, that year and the next year, we were across all the places in retail throughout the city. Throughout the city, you could see the same origin stuff. So that was one thing that really, really worked for us. And apart from that, focusing on, because the whole idea was to bring in world class. Whatever I saw overseas was to make it happen here. That style, the grooming, the way they hold the tools, the way we work with the store, that style especially, apart from the work. So working with them, training these people, it really worked miracles in the sense that we had about a couple of hundred people working in all these places. The next step that happened, another brilliant thing for us, was all these retail stores. Retail was expanding. So they started moving to Mumbai, to Chennai, to Delhi, Ghaziabad, to all these places. So very soon, these people started inviting us, saying that why don't you come
and do it there?
Do it. So we were invited here.
So it was a clear, transition, and it made you a retail expert.
Yeah.
So you found your strength in the retail space, basically, right?
Yes, it was like a pull. We were just focusing on the work, and we were just doing.
So from there, how did you graduate to enter into, like now you're even doing the Bangalore airport, doing the airports, doing the manufacturing facilities, and I think residential is another strong point of yours. So what is the skill set that you started developing for these other sectors?
It's very similar story to what happened at Landmark back then. Say in Mumbai, Lower Parel, Phoenix was the first mall that opened.
Correct.
And we were there, right? And so everybody would go around load panel. That was the first format of its stuff. So one day I got a call from somebody who was heading the facilities for Mahindra & Mahindra's, the tractors plant here.
Okay.
He said, we saw, and if your boys can, and the retail space for about 50,000 square feet retail store, the washroom size was very small.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can, even now you see it's a very small space. But it was maintained immaculately clean. So he said, if you could do that, then our factory needs your services. So from then till now, Mahindra & Mahindra's plant here is what we do.
Lovely.
So just to answer your question, Ki, there were people who would come, see our work and invite us, and we would go and whatever that it was, it could be a hospital, it could be a hotel, it could be so word of mouth, and this is something I'm very proud of. But yes, good and bad. Proud of is the fact that between the year 2000, 1999 and now, 25 years, we don't have a department called sales department. We don't have sales, we don't have marketing.
Okay.
It's absolutely through word of mouth and our customers growing and our customers leaving their companies and joining other companies, right? That is how we got DMart. Today, DMart is one of our biggest customers pan India, for example. And that's how we got Reliance Retail. That's how we got so many other companies, because people who are working for brand X would join there as head of operations or X, Y, and Z. And they would invite us, saying that these guys were doing a great job there. So that's how we started getting
That's
business.
very interesting story, actually, to see your growth. Now, 25 years, Christopher. It's I think something in a facility management, homegrown facility management company. It's a big achievement, and you have shown that how the story started from your 4 workers. So today you're how many workers?
Close to about 9,000 people.
Okay, lovely. So,
Right across 200 cities.
And how many sites are you doing now?
Probably over 3,000, 3,500. But our goals are different. While expanding, because business expansion is a must, growth is a must. But what is very, very important is this, that at some point of time there's been this personal realization that things had changed for me big time. I come from a lower middle class family, completely a different background, and today this business, this opportunities has transformed my life and my family's life. But some time ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, this question was bothering me. What next? Right? And if you look at the industry peers, everybody talks about next valuation kitna hoga, kitne mein sale karenge, ye hai. And we've got that. We had all those opportunities from ISS, from X, Y, Z, so many companies who came and said, why don't you sell, we'll give you a multiple, I remember sitting in this hotel also negotiating with ISS. But I said no, because what's my bigger purpose I did not know. The first purpose was to say bringing this kind of services to this country. That was a passion. But after some time, something was bothering me, but I did not know what was bothering me. It took some time to know. But like any aha moments in the shower or here or there, I found my aha moment when I realized that this business transformed my life and my family's life. But the many people whom I've been working with, especially the housekeepers, and most of these people have been working with me for about 18, 19, 20 years. Their lives had not changed because principally our business environment is stuck around minimum wages.
Yes.
So back then when we started, they were paid minimum wages. Even today, they still paid minimum wages. So whether it's a fresher who has no experience in this industry comes, he or she is paid a minimum wage. An experienced person with about 15 years of experience, with great amount of eye for detail, great amount of behavioral aspects, great amount of efficiency, is still paid the minimum wage. That is something that we as an organization, and personally myself, we've chosen to dedicate ourselves, in the sense that we've made it our brand's, our company's chief purpose, is to transform spaces and transform lives. What do we mean by this? Transforming spaces is not just cleaning up and maintaining and all that, but being able to use our people in this industry to be able to add value to the spaces, bring life, bring happiness, bring joy, bring great amount of experiences to people. That's what we desire to do, and that's what we choose to do. And transforming lives is what is it that we can do to add value to these people in terms of upskilling them, multi-skilling them, the behavioral training, and so much, that we aspire to do, and we are set out to do. That our goal is to create a 2x value for them in the marketplace. If the market is paying a minimum wages of X, our people should be able to earn a 2x value, and that's our mission. That's our vision. That in the next 10 years, we want to add value and create value for at least 100,000 people, and that's what inspires me to go to work every day. And the belief is, like you asked.
Thank you so much, Christopher Blessing. That was a wonderful story, and I'm sure all our listeners and viewers are going to learn and understand that how it is to work in the facility management industry, and it is possible to grow with your performance and be a success story yourself.